Is Sergio Perez useless to Red Bull? Experts have been very vocal about how the Mexican is adding absolutely nothing to the team's success this season, which has led to key figures in the sport recommending Red Bull to take a Mercedes-esque approach to their drivers. For those of you who didn't quite catch that, it's a subtle way of telling Christian Horner to get Checo out of the team as soon as possible, especially now that Lando Norris is quickly creeping up behind them. Let's hear the experts out in today's video. Channel 4 pundit Billy Munger remarked that Sergio Perez engaged in an unnecessary defence, thereby creating an opportunity for Fernando Alonso in Brazil. Munger suggested that Max Verstappen might not have taken the same defensive action in that situation. Red Bull's Perez and Aston Martin's Alonso captivated the audience at the Brazilian Grand Prix with an exhilarating battle that unfolded right to the finish line. The intense duel concluded in a photo finish, ultimately granting Alonso the coveted final podium spot. Perez believed he had successfully overtaken Alonso as he made his way back from a P9 grid position. However, the two-time world champion counterattacked on the final lap, reclaiming the lead at turn 4 and maintaining his position from there. In his analysis of the exchange, Munger pointed out that Alonso's strategic move forced Perez to adopt a defensive stance into turn 1. This defensive move put Perez on a compromised trajectory onto the back straight, ultimately creating the opening for Alonso. The Spanish driver seized the opportunity without hesitation, and when asked if he thinks Perez is kicking himself for this particular failure, Munger said, "Yeah, 100%. I think especially because what I said earlier with Fernando making him defend that corner. He didn't have to do that. I think if that was a Max Verstappen in front of Fernando there, he goes on the complete normal racing line, doesn't defend, and he's under no pressure on the exit. So Checo, it was his own doing there, the opportunity for Fernando to get back past him. I think he'll be kicking himself because that Red Bull this weekend, it's been so quick." F1 veteran team boss Ross Brawn is suggesting that Red Bull consider swapping out Sergio Perez for someone more competitive, given Max Verstappen's dominating performance in the 2023 season. Verstappen has clinched victory in 17 out of the 20 races in F1 2023, marking the most dominant season in the history of the sport. He now holds records for the most victories, the highest win percentage, and the longest streak of consecutive F1 wins. On the flip side, despite a promising start to the year, Perez has only secured 2 wins and has yet to solidify his position in second place in the Drivers' Championship, with 2 rounds still to go. In a conversation with TalkSport, Brawn proposed that Red Bull should take a page from Mercedes' playbook, recalling their successful era with Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg between 2014 and 2016. Brawn shared this insight when questioned about whether anyone could put a halt to Verstappen and Red Bull's current dominance. Even though they have this domination at the moment, you will see it in time. And we're seeing little indications. I mean, McLaren, with Lando Norris and occasionally Oscar Piastri, they're knocking at the door, keeping them honest. Let's put it that way. I think over this winter, I'm optimistic that there will be a reset. When you're at the front, you have the advantage of being able to start the design of your new car earlier. And that's when that domination can sometimes run for several years. What I want to see, quite frankly, is someone more competitive in the other car, because, unfortunately, Sergio Perez is not putting up much competition for Max Verstappen. And even when you get a dominant car, if you can get someone in the other car who's giving them a hard time, and we think of Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton, that was a great year when Mercedes were dominating. The Drivers' Championship got sealed during Saturday's sprint race in Qatar, and the Constructors' Championship was secured in Japan. Interestingly, Max has racked up enough points to claim the Constructors' title solo this year. The driver who's been nipping at his heels lately is Lando Norris. With McLaren's remarkable comeback in the middle of the season, Lando has notched up 7 podium finishes since Silverstone, 6 of them as second place, with 5 of these being specifically as the runner-up to Verstappen. McLaren has shown significant progress in 2023 in narrowing the gap with the dominant Red Bull. However, a persistent challenge lies in managing tyre wear. Despite Formula One's shift to ground effect aerodynamics in 2022, aimed at levelling the playing field, Red Bull has emerged as an unstoppable force instead. Although the teams behind have made strides in closing in on Red Bull, McLaren stands out as arguably the most improved team of F1 2023. Taking the lead in that competitive fray. Yet, When it comes to race trim, the Red Bull RB19 with Verstappen at the helm remains an unstoppable force. McLaren's Lando Norris, who finished as the runner-up to Verstappen in both the Brazil Sprint and Grand Prix, observed a gradual slip in performance relative to the Dutchman after the initial strong pace of 10 to 15 laps in his stints. Team principal Andrea Stella has agreed, emphasising that effective tyre management is the pivotal advantage that Red Bull holds over McLaren. He said, "I think the difference is mainly in terms of lap time on used tyres. But as soon as the tyres degrade, then it would appear like Max, Red Bull, they can just have less degradation. The tyres were degrading maybe 1/10 every 2 laps. It's a significant amount of degradation, and if you can limit that, after 10 laps in a stint, this is tenths of a second. So I think that's where they are superior at the moment. Where we think the difference is made, we can't do very much with this car." The car has improved with the Singapore upgrade in terms of tyre management, but not enough to be able to compete, especially when degradation is high. And we saw some other cars degrading quite a lot, like Mercedes, Ferrari. Typically, in this ground effect era, Mercedes have been a team known for finding performance in race trim compared to one-lap speed. However, Brazil presented a departure from this tradition, as it was clearly not the case for the team in that race. Despite a promising beginning, George Russell and Lewis Hamilton experienced a decline as the sprint unfolded, and this trend persisted on Grand Prix Sunday. Hamilton secured only P8, while Russell had to retire due to power unit temperature issues. Hamilton, who had been Verstappen's closest competitor in Mexico and Austin, finished over a minute behind him, a result that left Stella surprised. That's a bit of a surprise because normally, when you have this high level of degradation, it's also when Mercedes actually seems to do well. We are not sure why that happened, and even from a Ferrari point of view, I would have expected Ferrari to be more competitive. Lucky for Lando and McLaren, a chance to finally chase Red Bull has fallen in their lap. The street circuit in Vegas is poised to present a distinctive challenge for both teams and drivers. Adding to the complexity, temperatures are anticipated to drop below 10 degrees Celsius during the Saturday night race. Verstappen has acknowledged that he's still unfamiliar with the circuit, as his exposure to the Vegas venue is limited to the F1 video game. When asked about his anticipation for the challenge of racing in Vegas, he replied, "I'll deal with that once I arrive to the track. There's still a lot to do. I still need to go on the simulator. I still don't even know the track, to be honest. The last time I tried it on the F1 game, I think I hit more walls than I was going straight. So let's hope that's not the case when I start driving there." But it's going to be very different to Brazil. Very low temperatures, of course, in the night there. Street circuit. We have no experience there. We don't know the track grip. All new. So maybe it will give you a few surprises. I don't know. Despite his impressive form, marked earlier this season by breaking the record for the most consecutive wins with 10, Verstappen has generally faced challenges on street circuits compared to his teammate Sergio Perez in recent years. All 5 of Perez's victories in Red Bull colours since 2021 have occurred on street circuits. The Mexican showcased his prowess by outperforming Verstappen to secure a win in Baku in April, just weeks after a triumphant performance from pole position in Jeddah. Verstappen secured victories in Miami and Monaco this season, but his 10-race winning streak came to an end during F1's recent visit to a street circuit in Singapore in September. Ferrari's Carlos Sainz emerged as the only non-Red Bull driver to claim a race win in 2023. So, will Lando Norris and his McLaren finally get the better of the unstoppable machine that is Max Verstappen? Comment your predictions for the Las Vegas Grand Prix down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.